Madrid must be shaking. Bukayo Saka will be returning for the first leg. Now, after everyone thought that Bukayo Saka would be ready for the second leg, it's came out that he is eyeing the first leg on April 8th. Now, this is going to make Madrid shake because this is a game changer. Bukayo Saka is one of the best wingers in the world, and having him healthy is going to change everything for Arteta tactically. And this is going to affect Madrid's defense, which is weak. I'm not going to lie. It is weak compared to previous years. So this is going to be a game changer because just because Real Madrid, you may be saying, is not shaking. They've won the competition 15 times. Well, just because Madrid dominated this before you were even born doesn't mean they're going to come into this game, 1-0 before anything because they've won the competition 15 times or they're reigning champs. That's all out the window. It's all about the present, all right? We've seen Madrid lose to Chelsea. They've been eliminated by Tuchel before. So this doesn't do anything. They lost to Dortmund as well. We've seen Madrid get bounced out by many teams, and I feel like this is the one. I feel it. Now, bringing in Saka, this is how it's going to feel, lads. This is generally how it's going to feel. I'm not going to lie. When we see Saka warming up for Real Madrid, this is the vibe it's going to give. The same thing that Messi gave the Camp Nou when he came out back from injury and warming up. It's the same vibe we're about to see because Messi came out and absolutely destroyed. And Bukayo Saka will be doing the same. So, this was Arsenal. I'm telling you right now, the midfield and defense will not change. Miles Lewis-Skelly will be on Rodrigo, Timber on Vinny. Now, this is a great thing because honestly, if Miles Lewis-Skelly was ever on Vinicius, somebody's getting a red card because they're both very prone on being, kind of reckless. So that would have been terrible. But Timber on Vinny is a great thing. Miles Lewis-Skelly on Rodrigo, hopefully he doesn't get sent off. He's very red card prone is what I've seen. I would have preferably put Timber on Rodrigo and Ben White on Vinicius, just on the fact that Miles Lewis-Skelly's still a young guy. He's 18 years old. He's going to be getting thrown against Real Madrid. And he's, like I said, red card prone. And I think just having Ben White a little bit more experience, having that last season, in the Allianz Arena, would have been a little bit more preferable. But I know Arteta, he's a bit hard-headed. And this is the lineup he's going to roll in with. But having Bukayo Saka is monumental because I understand Marino scored a corner. But if you see this back line, this is the lineup Madrid's gonna come in. The only thing they might switch is Modric and Camavinga possibly. But this is the lineup they're gonna go in with, and this is a bit of a tricky one because in reality Bellingham's playing a false as a cam with Modric and Chouameni, or even Camavinga might be coming in behind Rodrigo right wing, Mbappe striker, Vinny left. All right, that's what they're gonna play at. So I'm not concerned with Arsenal's defense and midfield. Personally, it's solid. No changes needed, aside from Miles Lewis-Skelly, possibly just because how young he is. But attacking-wise, if Madrid sees Mikel Merino, if Asensio and Rudiger see Mikel Merino, striker, they are going to have a laugh, an absolute laugh, because they've seen Haaland. They just came off of, Julian Alvarez. You've got the treble winner. You've got a World Cup winner. A Copa America winner. He was also part of that treble winning team. You've got two great attackers. And then they're going to go to DM in the midfield. It's going to be a day off for them. But, hear me out. If we see Bukayo Saka somehow be able to start, then Trossard would go striker. Martinelli back on the left, Saka on the right. Now, that's a little bit more dangerous. I understand, for me, Trossard has been absolutely a shell of himself last season. He's played, I understand, 29 games to 34 games, but he's played a lot more minutes because he was coming off the bench for a lot of these games. So, the fact that he only has 4 goals this season is absolutely atrocious from Trossard. But the thing is, from naturally finishing, I think available, Trossard is the best natural finisher on Arsenal at the moment. That's why everyone's crying for a striker. So it's going to come down to Trossard getting a couple opportunities against Madrid. And if he can be clinical, then Arsenal may have a chance to take the lead to the Bernabeu. But if Arsenal do not have a lead and they're down, all right, if they're down somehow in the Bernabeu, wrap it up, lads. We're getting quarterfinaled out of here, all right? But if Arsenal get a draw or win, they have a great chance of being able to get some sort of result, because I have no concerns with Arsenal's defense and midfield, honestly. The thing is, Saliba, very familiar with Mbappe. Gabriel, and he's very familiar with Vinny and Rodrigo. Um, Declan Rice, very familiar with Jude Bellingham. Thomas Partey, very familiar with Real Madrid. We've got guys that have a lot of experience. Mikel Merino as well. We've got guys who have a lot of experience against Real Madrid players. And this is going to be an advantage for Arsenal. And Madrid, on the other hand, defensively, I'm just not convinced yet with Asensio. I think he's going to have the same problem as Miles Lewis-Skelly. Doesn't have too much experience. Does not. And you're going to be saying, oh, he's done well against City in the Etihad. He's done well against Atletico Madrid in the Calderon. But now you're going to be playing in England. It's a different gravy, lads. It's a different gravy at times. And he can get shaky. And I know you're going to be saying, oh, Man City. But Man City don't really have fans, all right? That's the truth of it. If you're really going to rank all the Premier League fan bases and all the atmosphere, the Etihad doesn't even touch top 10 in the Premier League, all right? It's a bunch of plastic fans. Now you're going to be looking at fans who've, at Arsenal been supporting their whole lives. City fans. Really, there's only one fan that I could think of that been supporting City before the financial takeover, all right? So it's a bunch of plastic fans. Just trying to go against Real Madrid, former Barcelona fans that follow Pep Guardiola. Now with Arsenal, there's genuine generational fanhood. You see like 10 generations. Oh, my great grandfather was an Arsenal fan. These lads are passionate. These lads live for Arsenal, not the City fans, all right? That City thing, that's a plastic rivalry. Arsenal's where it's at, lads. The only respectable fan bases you'll see from the big clubs is Arsenal. You'll see from Liverpool. You'll see from United. And you could Chelsea's kind of getting there. I understand it's a bit plastic, but Chelsea's getting, some history. Since 2000 and up, they have history. But Man City, it's been since, Pep Guardiola and up. It's not even been 10, it's barely been like 10 years, lads. But it's going to be a different gravy here in the Emirates. Madrid's already came into Arsenal's ground and not been able to, score a goal. Now, Arsenal's been to the Bernabeu and they've been able to score a goal. So that's the difference. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you think this will end up happening. I believe Arsenal will end up getting through and Madrid will get bounced out. But anyways, thank you guys for watching.